Hey everybody, welcome to the final Speed Duel rated match, I guess. I don't really know. So if you aren't familiar with this, you can go ahead and check. I probably will have. They'll be on my channel if you want to go check out the other Speed Duel rated episodes that I've done. But yeah, this is a very new format in dueling books, so I figured I'd give it a shot, and maybe you guys would like watching this. And I have more of a detailed explanation in the first episode of this series, so if you want to go read a more in-depth explanation for this, you can go ahead and watch one of those videos. But yeah. Anyways, we were playing against a Joey skill deck this time, playing the same deck, Serpent Night Dragon, so I'm just going to go ahead and I won't be explaining what the Serpent Night Dragon deck does. I'll probably mostly just be explaining how card effects resolve, I guess in this case, just commentating over it. So he's going to go ahead and we're playing the same deck that we did last time, or playing against the same deck, which is like a Blade Knight / Warrior Turbo deck that just like uses the normal summon and Bashing Shield to like just hit your opponent. Death Tornado as well as Kunai with Chain is pretty solid because Kunai is insane in this format, just by the way, but I think it's pretty good. So we start off with a Summoner's Art, searching for our copies of Serpent Night Dragon, and we can go ahead and normal summon our Blue Dragon Summoner, and we can set this back row, but I decide not to here. It's going to die to Death Tornado anyways, so we're going to attack for 15. He's forced to use the Kunai here, or he's going to take 15. He's going to take the 15 on his, like, he's going to choose to take 15, which is fine. And yeah, so drawing for his turn, he draws into Command Knight, boosting itself up to 1600 because all warriors gain 400 attack. He's going to go ahead and go into battle phase and hit over for 100 damage. That's I'm going to go ahead and use the Gentlemander here. I guess it doesn't really matter what I do here, but yeah, I just decided to. I draw for turn, drawing into Tribute All. I guess it was a good option to do that because I didn't take 100 damage. Big deal, right? But, you know, it happens. Serpent Night Dragon's going to come down here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the Rex skill Nightmare Sonic Blast to excavate the top 4 cards of my deck. And I reveal 3 monsters as well as a spell, meaning that I can apply both effects to add and destroy a card on the field. I think the right card to add here is probably Gentlemander or Sphere Kuriboh, just because either of them are disruptions. I probably should add the Sphere Kuriboh. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. And then putting the Tribute Doll on top, so that way I have a higher chance of drawing into a monster for later turns. So I'm going to go ahead and pop one of the back row, just a random one. And because the Command Knight's not going to do a whole lot. If he summons another Command Knight, it's like not a big deal. But he is actually just going to be going ahead and using Night Beam to pop my back row. My thought process here was like, I have Champion's Vigilance to negate something, but he had the Night Beam to negate it out. So like, if he would have just activated Bashing Shield, I would have negated it obviously, because he would have boosted this guy up to 2600, which is obviously bigger than Serpent Knight. But he's going to go ahead and get the Bashing Shield anyways. So that's what he's, or actually he uses the Blast Gamble because we have a chat here deciding which turn it was, and it is the 5th turn, so he definitely uses the Blast Gamble, which is really interesting. I don't know if I agree with this because he did have an out, like in the forms of Bashing Shield, but he's gonna pay 2400 and go ahead and draw 4, which is crazy. He actually draws really good because he's gonna normal summon Swordswoman, boosting itself up to 1900 because of the Command Knight's effect, and then he can go ahead and damage step, use Kunai to go ahead and equip to Amazoness Swordswoman, which will boost it up to 2400, which is crazy. I'm gonna take 50 damage because yeah, and then he just decides not to attack with Command Knight. Like, all right, that's fine. I probably should have just used a Gentlemander, assuming that he had a Kunai, but I just didn't because I knew I had a follow-up because I knew my next draw was going to be Tribute All anyways, so it's not going to matter. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and Tribute All for another Serpent Night Dragon, revealing 3 monsters as well as a spell card. We're going to go ahead and pop the Amazon Swordswoman, and then we're going to go ahead and add the Sphere Kuriboh, and then we're going to stack the top of our deck so we can obviously draw a spell card on our next turn. We're going to declare an attack with the... Actually, I don't know... he missed this here, but I can't attack the turn that I use the Serpent Night Dragon. I should have caught that, but I don't think it's going to matter because I lose this game anyways. But he's going to go ahead and set the Night Beam as well as the Man-Eater Bug and pass this turn to me. I draw for turn, and I use the skill to go ahead and banish 4, and I decide to pop the back row here, I think, which is dumb on my part. I forgot to read Command Knight. Command Knight has a restriction that I can't attack the Command Knight if he controls another monster. I genuinely thought that it was just another warrior monster, but it is another monster. So I do switch the Serpent Night Dragon to attack mode, and I attack the Command Knight thinking that it's warriors only. Obviously, if he wouldn't have caught this, he would have lost because he's at 100 life points. But he does catch it, and so I do have to attack the Man-Eater Bug. I forget this card even existed, but he definitely uses the effect to go ahead and pop my Serpent Night Dragon. And at this point, I'm kind of screwed because he's Rosalind a Floodgate Trap Hole, tributes over for Dark Red Enchanter, which can basically just rip cards out of my hand. So he rips the Sphere Karibo, which sucks for me. I take 17. I draw for turn, drawing into Gentlemander. I've just passed my turn here because there's nothing I can really do about it. He draws into Don Zalug, and then he declares an attack with Dark Red Enchanter, which he should have done Don Zalug first just because the way this would have played out. This could have randomly discarded the Gentlemander, and then it would have been game. But I do activate the Gentlemander to go ahead and stop the Dark Red Enchanter, and he's going to attack over it and then attack directly with Don Zalug during 14 and discarding a random card from my hand. I draw for turn, drawing into Blue Dragon Summoner. And this is the part where I think I have game, because I can normal summon Blue Dragon Summoner. He's at 100 life points. I hit over Dong Zalug. That's 100 damage. I win this game, right? So I go ahead and I click pretty fast, going into battle phase, but he catches me and says, nah, Floodgate Trap Hole, flips my dude face down. At this point, it's game because either one's going to attack over my Blue Dragon Summoner, and then his Dark Red Enchanter is going to attack for game, or the opposite. It's not going to matter. I'm at 800 life points. I scoop up the game. So, moving into game number 2, I know that was a long number game number 1, or at least it felt like a long game number 1. He has the same skill, I believe, and so he's going to go ahead and set a Command Knight as well as Kunai with Chain, not a bad choice, and the Night Beam as well, I guess is just like a bait back row. I draw for turn, drawing into Serpent Night Dragon. I have complete access to it right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and tribute the Gobble Costin into Serpent Night Dragon, flip over my skill, reveal the top 4 cards of deck. Unfortunately, I only reveal 2 monsters, which means I can either pop or add. I already have the Champion's Vigilance here, so I think that the right play is to just pop a card. Thinking that this is Man-Eater Bug, I just decided to go ahead and pop it, because, like, if it is Man-Eater Bug, like, that's, like, smart on my part. And at this point, I realize there's no other, like, good trap cards in the game. So, yeah, I think that was the right play by far. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this Champion's Vigilance to the top of the deck, so I'm going to have a free negate for the next turn. I go into battle phase, and then I catch myself here, and I said I can't declare an attack because of Tribute Doll, so I do catch that, which is really smart. He probably would have used the Kunai there. Actually, I'm not sure. He probably would have taken the damage, actually. So he's going to go ahead and Night Beam my back row, which is fine. Just baits it out. Normal summons the Command Knight and equips it with Bashing Shield. So at this point, he can declare an attack, and I had the Gentlemander in hand, so I just special it, and he's forced to attack it, so he kills it, which is fine. I only have a Serpent Night Dragon here, so I'm kind of top decking at this point. I know my next top deck is the Champion's Vigilance, which is a free negate, and I know I can reveal 2 monsters because I know there's 2 Sphere Karibos, so worst case scenario, I'm going to have a negate and a pop for the next turn. So I draw the Champion's Vigilance. I can go ahead and use the effect, revealing the 2 Sphere Karibos, and the next card is a monster. So fortunately, I can add another one. I can add one of the Sphere Karibos just because it is an extra form of disruption. It's a pretty smart play there. Kunai with Chain can, like, negate an attack, but that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, stack at the top of my deck. I set this. I attack with Serpent Night Dragon. He hits me with a Kunai. That's fine. Switches to defense. I have, you know, 2 forms of disruption, because if he tries to kill my Serpent Night Dragon by battling over it somehow, if he draws some form of top deck, that's fine. I can just clear it. And then if he has any form of spell trap card, I can just pop it. So he draws for turn, drawing Waking the Dragon, and I didn't even realize this card existed in this format. And every time I see, like, from now on, if I see my opponent's extra deck has 6 cards in it, I will not be popping back row, like, randomly. I'll probably just be, like, attacking in a back row, because that's pretty crazy. Or at least, like, game 2 and 3, because Waking the Dragon's pretty crazy. So I draw for turn. I didn't realize this card was in this format, so I play right into it, popping this card, and I'm going to add the double cost in the hand. So it dies. Obviously, I can't negate it because it's not activating, it's using the effect, which is a good thing that you need to catch here. Also, I believe this skill should activate, because I believe that was the 5th turn. It might have been the 7th. Either way. This is a trap effect. When cards activates in the graveyard or in the banished zone or in the hand, they're effects, not activations, except for monsters. Monsters are activating. But trap cards and spell cards, when they're activated, not by, if you literally place it on the field, it's activating. However, it's already face up. If it's already face up and it's using the effect, that it's not activating. So that's why I can't negate this with Champion's Vigilance here. So he does get to summon the Arcana Knight Joker for free, basically. And so at this point, I'm kind of screwed, but I do have a Sphere Karibo that doesn't target, which is really important here to note. And I can set the double cost in here, and I pass my turn to him. He draws Don Zalug, and he's going to declare an attack over my Serpent Night Dragon, which is, I'm just going to obviously discard the Sphere Karibo, and because it doesn't target the monster, his Arcana Knight Joker can't negate it. So he actually is... it switches to defense mode, and he can't do anything about it. So then I can go ahead and activate Nightmare Sonic Blast, filling top 4, popping his monster. At this point, I just flip the double cost and flip the Serpent Night Dragon. That's, 40-50, so that's for game. So that's exactly what I do. And he scoops it up. So, moving into game number 3. Very interesting. He goes ahead and goes first, or no, I go first. So I only have the Blue Dragon Summoner here, which is like really bad. Like this hand's pretty bad, honestly. Sphere Karibo, Blue Dragon Summoner, 2 copies of Serpent Knight. Like that's pretty bad. He draws for turn. He has quite a good hand actually because like he can play into back row really nicely. Like if I try and play into his back row, he is awaking. But he's gonna go ahead and set just 2 back row and pass his turn. I think this is the right play because if I, Night Beam just randomly, I lose. But I'm just going to go ahead and pass. I don't really have a good play here. He sets some cards and goes ahead and passes his turn as well. Setting the, I believe this was a Dust Tornado? I don't know. Oh, maybe it's a second Waking? I guess it's a second Waking. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's a second Waking. So I go ahead for my turn. I normal summon Double Costin. I'm going to attack randomly into a back row or a monster. It's not going to matter because, like, if this is a Maneater Bug, big deal. Like, he's going to kill my Costin. I don't really care that much. So he's going to flip it. I take 200 damage because, I lose the battle there, which is fine. I pass the turn. He goes ahead and switches his Command Knight to attack mode, and he declares an attack over my Blue Dragon Summoner, which is fine. I'm going to use the effect to go ahead and search for my 3rd copy of Serpent Night Dragon, all filled in my hand. I draw for turn, drawing into Champion's Vigilance, and now I can just Tribute Summon over Serpent Night Dragon, and I can use my skill, and I'm basically just free to, like, go here, because I didn't use Tribute All, so I can still attack with the Serpent Night Dragon, so I'm going to bait out back row regardless, and I'm going to definitely kill this Maneater Bug here, because, like, it's like, I don't want to get hit by a set card, so, that's what I do. I stack the top of my deck, and I go ahead and set a back row just randomly, and I just attack into his monster. He's going to take 750 here, and I'm past my turn. He hits me with a Dust Tornado in the end phase, just baiting out my back row, which is fine, and I have a Form of Disruption in Gentlemander. I believe he sets the Kunai here to just block some damage, which is fine. I go for my turn, banish the top. I hit this, and I believe I just go ahead and choose not to hit a back row, and I just add a card. And then I just stack my deck because, like, I'm not hitting back row. After I realized, like, Waking the Dragons on the format, nah, that's not happening again. And so I'm playing really hard into Windstorm here, but that's okay because he has a Kunai instead. So he's forced to use Kunai here on my Serpent Knight, which is fine because next turn, if he doesn't draw Kunai, he loses. So... or if he draws, like, it doesn't matter what he draws because I can play around Windstorm by just switching one of them or just like right here I can literally just attack with Costin, and then if he Windstorms me it switches them, and then my Serpent Knight's going to be in attack mode, and now I can attack with Serpent Knight for game. So he goes ahead and just scoops up the game there, which is totally understandable because I can just normal summon something anyways. If I reveal Blue Dragon Summoner, or I guess not a Blue Dragon Summoner, but if I reveal like a Costin off of this, like it's not gonna matter. I'm gonna win the game anyway. So that's gonna do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed just like understanding exactly like the in-depth details of how Speed Duels work. I think it's more detailed than a lot of people think. I think a lot of people think that it's more of like a very just fast-paced format, and it has like no intricacies in the format at all. But like, there's definitely stuff that you can do to play around certain cards, like to play around Natakwa, to play around these Waking the Dragon. Like, obviously, you can tell like the skill of the player just by like how they play, and obviously, like I could tell like game number 2. or game number 1, you know, I died to man-eater bug, so I decided, okay, let's just, you know, hit those monsters, and so that's what I did in game number 2, and or actually game number 3 technically, because I killed the man-eater bug. And then in game number 2, I realized, like, oh, waking the dragon almost cost me the game. I probably shouldn't hit random back row, so I decided not to do that, and I just decided to bait out his back row by literally attacking. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you do like this sort of content, go ahead and drop a like, go watch my other content, give those some likes too, and maybe I'll do some more of these. We'll definitely have to see, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.